Oh, what's up? New bags to show. What's up, you guys? My name is Chase Reeves, and I review bags basically for a living, almost all bags. But I'm really into products that are worth it. They're worth our money because they do the job they promised they'd do. And today we're looking at this backpack, a 30 liter, and this roller bag, also a carry-on size. Two carry-on size bags from Shimoda, brand new. They just came out with them. They put them together with insights from like industry experts, and I'm talking about like serious, like Bodie would go outdoor adventure people. Okay, it's the Action X series. This guy's a roll top backpack. As you can see, I've got like little straps and stuff like this. It's incredibly comfortable. I'm gonna talk to you about all the details and the bells and whistles on this thing, the features, where the pockets are and stuff like that. But also, who is this bag actually good for? I'm gonna tell you who it was designed for, and then I'm gonna talk about, you know, who amongst us, even if we're not like an action and adventure professional, is this useful for the layman and woman out there? What if you're not like action-y, adventure-y, but you're still into camera, photo gear? These things are designed for carrying like, can I just show you this really quick? This thing opens so sick, like the doctor bag. And then, okay, I'm gonna show you this in a second. Okay, are you ready to get into it? These bags are serious equipment. Like they will equip you for lots of things in your life. Lots, and I know some of you are really excited about it, so let's get into the details. Okay, a couple things you might need to know about these. First is that this backpack comes in 3 sizes. This is the 30 liter, then they have a 50 and a 70 liter. So if you're interested in this similar sort of stuff, but bigger, meaning you can carry more things, you've got that going for you. Again, these are amazing, because when I open up this back panel, you're gonna see there's a huge camera rig in there, okay? So for any of you vloggers, any of you people who make a living by telling stories with your life out in, especially those of you who are going out into nature and doing like outdoorsy stuff. Okay, so 30, 50, and 70, and then this guy comes in 2 sizes as well. This is the carry-on, then they also have a larger size. As I'm writing this now, they're going to be launching the Kickstarter soon. I'll have to wait to publish this video until that goes live, so it'll just be on Kickstarter. Jump in there, because there's gonna be some savings. I think it's like I don't know how much of a percentage of, you know, Kickstarter. You're doing this thing where you're buying stuff before it's out, and the companies get this bonus because it's like, hey man, this is great. With your funds, we're gonna be able to purchase like the whole, like all the stuff that we need. You know the deal with Kickstarter. What's so great about videos like this is before you know, fund anything, you could kind of get the whole look at something without it coming from a company. But you are gonna have to deal with whoever's giving you the fucking look, which is me. I'm talking, and I should stop. There's so much to get into on these bags. Oh, one more cool thing I wanted to say. They do this 1% give back. Okay, this is interesting. 1% of their profits is given back to planting trees and basically bringing back to life landscapes that have been ruined, desolated by deforestation. So, thanks, Shimoda. All right, let's talk about this backpack first. There's a lot to get into on this backpack. Let me just show you this first real quick here. Look at this side access door directly to a camera cube inside that is, you know, really protected and padded. These are great camera core units. So that you can do the quick run and gun on it. Like all of you fucking bird watchers, adventure bird watchers are like, this looks great. Now, this side access door, you're looking at this, okay? We're gonna have a couple sections on this bag. We're gonna talk about the top, the back, the front, all right? And then this side and this side. This side has the tripod on it because this side doesn't actually open up into the main compartment the way that this side does. But both of these sides actually have this come-outable, pop-outable tripod / big water bottle holder. Show you that works really quick. You pop this right here. Why would I start with like the least exciting feature on the bag? I don't know, we're just gonna get into everything, you guys. But you can see this like pops right out. You can take your water bottle and shove it right in there if you had a big one. But it is this outdoor, it's like flappy. And this is kind of a metaphor for a lot of what this bag is like to use. It is like, if you're doing something serious, hardcore, necessary in your life, this bag is going to be like, I've got a spot for that. But the spot it's going to have for it might be more like this than you wanted it to be, right? Now, if you're an adventure, like bring your own trail mix kind of person, if you've got like, you know, egg whites in your mustache because you just cracked a fucking raw egg into your mouth for breakfast this morning, then you're like, that's fine. You don't mind the flappy dappies. You don't mind the dangle and the stuff like that, right? This enables a kind of like this kind of attachment for my tripod is just so I don't have to worry about it. And when I get into the straps and how it carries, you're gonna be like, fuck, it's so comfortable to have all your stuff on your back. It actually carries comfortably. Hip straps. Okay, just like look at that little zipper right there. That's where that thing pops out of. So if you don't use that, you won't see it at all. It's not visible on the inside here on this doorway, which as you can see, there's some Velcro back here. I've actually got the door to my camera compartment shoved inside of this. This is their camera case. It integrates with this bag purchased separately, that kind of thing. Nice little thoughtful thing is this zipper goes all the way up where there's a slight little angled tiny little piece. Now this is a very small piece on a very big bag, but what's nice about it is it gets that extra bit of water resistance. I'll tell you about these zips. I'll tell you about the water resistance here in a second. Okay, let's check out this back panel. Check this out. Let me see if I can open this without stuff falling off. First of all, we've got this huge YKK number 10 zipper that goes all the way around. Back injection molded type of plastic stuff or foam stuff, so you get a little bit of that air breathability. Definitely thicker down on the bottom. I've got my hip straps just barely tucked in there. They're nearly not. They really can't do this very well. They come out. You can Velcro them and unvelcro them out. They're really solidly put together there, but you don't want to, because if you're carrying anything heavy, these things, see how they have this interesting, like the way that caresses me down. You know what I mean? Caress me down. This bag seriously wins some comfortability awards from me. Okay, so let's take this zipper all the way around. It's nice that those hip straps are in this thing, so I can just, it's all gone, right? I just open it up, and now here's everything that I have in my little vlog kit. Now this is my little Fuji X100T because my camera is filming me right now, and I'm still on my like travel setup where I just have the one camera. Look at this, everything above here is open country. I mean, you can use this for anything, packing cubes for travel. It also has this segmentable sack thing inside here, which I'm gonna show you in a second. Again, the top, the front, the back, this is our back, and then our two sides, okay? Try to keep that in your head as we're watching. Now, this is one of their like sort of large core units. They make other smaller ones. I'll show you those in a second. These are all made to go back and forth between all the different bags, including that roller bag. Now, remember this little flappy dappy here, because when I show you the roll top, this is gonna come back. Also remember that there's this little zipper right here, because this little flappy dappy, I can remove. I can remove it so that my roll top, comes straight down into my camera cube stuff. Or I can keep this here, which gives me a nice little segmentable compartment that, like, everything that I can access through both the roll top and there's a quick access zipper on the front is in this pouch. Are you confused yet? Don't be. We're gonna get through it. Because this is the kind of bag that you can set up and customize a lot of different ways. Why would you wanna do that? Because you do something fucking gnarly for a living. Because you got to get the shot, or you're gonna go out for 7 days. You need all your gear with you because you're gonna get this like fucking B-roll for a wannabe Casey Neistat YouTube video. Or you're like a bunch of my friends and you work like for brands making company videos for like, hey, we're launching a new insole for a shoe. Okay, well, we gotta go to Kathmandu and climb an 11,000 foot mountain to get the shot. Okay, this roll top up at the top, we get an extra 7 liters of volume in this thing. Can you see that? It's like, can I even fit it on camera? Now, roll tops. Roll tops are they're not my favorite to use on a daily basis because you kind of have to, you're always having to clip, unroll, bam, open it up, get into it, grab your thing, put it together. By the way, not a magnet here, is there? No, not a magnet, but there's a nice little like stiff insert and it has a little liner. It's like, hey, roll forward and close at the back. So I roll forward and then I close at the back and then, hey, that's everything I had to do to get my fucking breath mints or whatever I was getting in there. Pardon my French, and that's why they have this little zipper right here. okay? Straight into that main compartment. You see that? This is the inside of that flappy dappy, that sack that we were looking at on the other side of the bag, right? That segmentable location that I can either fill up with my roll top or just get quick access to that stuff here, like my Porter pen case from Brown Buffalo, where I put a lot of snacks. We got a lot to cover in this video, so I won't be mentioning all of my pouches and stuff, though I love to talk about them because pouches enable a very special kind of carry. I'll put a link in the description below right now to my favorite pouches, including, if it's not out yet, a new video that's like so many pouches. I love pouches. They help us to actually travel, organize, get all the things sort of modular that we need. So when we're on the go, we can just grab this out. You grab this out of the thing when it's under the seat in front of you on the airplane, and you've got all the things you need in it. Love this Brown Buffalo Porter pen case, and I will link to this one and all of my favorite pouches below. Now, the way that I've got this set up right now is for daily carry. All right, so I don't actually have it set up for travel. It's just in daily carry mode. In daily carry mode, I set it up so that this is kind of like just this big pouch, this big pocket that sits on top of that camera cube inside there, and I can actually like very, very quickly get to my laptop charger or my snacks or whatever, stuff like that. This is the section that would be designated, for me at least, for travel. This is where I would get my PAKT Designs packing cube, which is my favorite. It's a little spendy, but it's really lightweight and really well made, and it has like a dirty closed compartment and expands and collapses. It's like, it's the Elon Musk of packing cubes. And then I can just put that right inside. Look at this. This thing just converted from like a pretty useful, like, you know, daily, like larger than normal daily carry to now I'm full on travel mode. The only thing I gotta fit in here still is my DOP kit, which I can find a little way to either minimize that and shove it in somewhere or actually get it up in here. One little note about this roll top is you're gonna have this guy right here. This is where we're clipping this together. It doesn't come down. You know, some roll tops are actually clipped down the side of the bag to keep it, you know, something like that. What's great about this, you're already rolling this up, so you've already got your hands on both things. There's no need to like, rolled it up. Okay, now let's go find the little clip. Let's go find the little clip, right? It's all in there. And when you're set up like this, you can use that as your, like, sort of your grip handle, but you just wanna be careful not to hold it like that. So you're probably, if you've got a lot of gear in here and shit like that, you're probably just gonna get used to using these handles, all right? There's handles on what is it? Isn't there all three sides? No, it's just this top and this one side, and then not on the bottom. Yeah, nice top handle and nice one side handle. The handle that the side that opens up to the camera cube inside has a handle as well. So for those like when you're actually carrying it by hand, you might carry it sideways or vertically like this. What's great about this is it's only maybe it's 3 or 4 inches off the ground, but you'll want to hold it like this when you're carrying it like that as much as possible, because then when you set it down, it's leaning up against you. It's got that lean, right? That's the kind of shit that like when you're carrying gear around and you're serious and it's heavy and you know you're in I'm carrying things mode, right? You get into a little bit of that special forces mentality where it's like, all right, I'm carrying it this way. This is the way that is this optimum way to carry it, because when I set it down, it will be leaning against me already. Let's talk about this material for a second, okay? This material is actually really interesting to me because it is both lightweight and extremely durable. This material itself, the external material, doesn't have all the padding built into it. Your camera cube does. So all your important gear on the front here, the camera cube is facing the back, right? So the opening is facing this way. On the other side, it's all very protected, rigid stuff. So the only place you need to worry about injury coming from to your gear is here or that side access door. If you happen to open that up, then, you know, then a fucking waterfall gets in. And the waterfall got in. Okay, this is a carbonate coated, abrasion resistant ripstop nylon. You can feel the coating on there. It's like a little bit of a waxy, not waxy, plasticky, rubbery. Doesn't have like a silicone silicone sort of tackiness. It doesn't have any stickiness to it, but it's like you can clearly feel that like it's water resistant. And you can see the little squares you typically see in a ripstop kind of fabric. Ripstop in that it's woven in a way that is designed to keep it from ripping any further. Like if you get a little rip, it stops the rip. Ripstop, get it? It's not just like a nar term. Went up and did a rip stop. It was fucking sick. Back in the day, we used to talk about like Bodie, this pretend friend that we had that like Bodie would go, dude. Bodie would do it. Bodie would go, bro. Bodie would absolutely do that, bro. This is a total Bodie bag. Bodie would be like lost in the wilderness for like 29 days with just this bag and like a compass. More great materials. All the zippers are YKK. They're Splash Guard YKK. They've got a water seal there, so you're not going to be getting moisture in through those zippers, which is awesome. You know, some zippers, oftentimes the YKK zippers, even when they don't have a seal on them, can do a pretty decent job of keeping moisture out if it's not too intense. But this coating on the outside just goes one step further. More material stuff. You're going to notice these straps. These straps have this nice foam on the inside, nice liner, same liner on the back here, but it has that injection molded thing. There's good foam in here, great foam and all of this stuff. It feels really good. It passes the like tactile sensation test, right? This thing is made with good materials. One simple, I love this. It's TPU. There's a lot of these compression straps all over the place. Some of them are just nylon like this, and others of them are this TPU. It's a let's see, thermoplastic polyurethane. And these straps are literally designed to carry like skis and poles and shit, because this is designed in collaboration with people who are outdoor photographers who get helicoptered up to the top of some fucking mountain, and then they have their skis on the thing, and then they get off the skis, and then they take pictures, and then they, you know, walk around with the skis on the backpack. It's legit stuff. It's so sick that people still do that for a living. Like, it's so, because these people know that we're on a fucking planet. We are on a planet, a rock that is spinning in space, that is just moving. It's a spaceship. We're on spaceship Earth, and we don't really know how we got here, but it's fucking gorgeous, man. And it's remarkable. And this is the kind of bag that can get you into that kind of scenery. Okay, the harness system on this thing is sensational. It really is. I've mentioned it a bunch now. Let's talk about it at length here. It's sensational. Couple things. You can see this, small, medium, and large. It's totally shift-upable. You can change it based on whether or not you have a small, medium, or large sort of length torso, right? So that's the distance of the shoulder, from the shoulder to our hip, right? So that you're not like wearing it with a hip strap up above your belly button. That's sick for all the different body styles. Why? Because there's so many different bodies out there. Which one do you have? This one will fit yours probably. When you lock into a bag like this, it just feels, I mean, before even putting on the sternum strap, it's already like, oh, I can feel the distribution of weight around my entire shoulder. I've got these load-bearing straps, or load lifters rather, so I can pull the front of the bag, the top of the bag a little more forward towards me, so I'm not leaning back that far. Thanks, Shimoda. Then you lock in the hip strap, right? Boom, you got it in there. Now, this is like the regular outdoorsy kind where you actually tighten it by pulling it forward. Oh, yes, it's like Spanx for my fat tire. And then once that's on, what's awesome about that is you've got a lot of the weight coming on the hip, but it wants to pull back, right? Every bag wants to pull back. This is when you go for the sternum strap and clip it right across. Now, for me, I just have regular man boobs. Normal man boobs, right? And a little bit larger than normal man boobs, right? For most of us men, this isn't that big of a deal. Shout out to you dudes who have bigger boobs than that, and it might be a bigger deal. Like, yeah, I see that hand. But for women especially, you're gonna have like, where am I gonna put that thing? I'm gonna put it below my boobs, above. They have a full strap that's designed with women. That's, you know, I like you guys a lot. Women are basically my favorite thing on the planet. Yeah, I mean, my wife in particular, but women and just in general. So it's sweet that they do that they have all the different sort of straps, all the different setups and like, you know, the configuration for the size of your body. You can get it how you want it. But here's what you gotta know is once this thing's on, this is sick. All right, first of all, you got all these nice little straps I can just throw or little pockets, like having my phone here and this. Before I was listening on my Sony WX, I don't know what's, these are amazing though. I'm doing a review on earbuds, all these wireless earbuds, which are the best ones. These are basically gonna win, probably. I'll put a link to these below, but subscribe to the channel if you wanna get the full like death match on that. You got your cell phone here, headphones in, water bottle. This is just this like one of these Memo bottles, which I got. I'm doing like a test of a bunch of water bottles and it just slides in there like nothing. It's plastic though. You know, plastics aren't the best thing for us. And if you don't want something there, this just like zips right up, goes away. If you don't want something there, this just zips right up, goes away, right? It's sort of like, you know, you got a kind of a techie outdoorsy look on the thing. But to be carrying as much gear as I'm carrying, including that somewhat heavy little tripod, which I'll link to this tripod below. This company, like, they were like, hey, we could send you some gear if you'll make a video on it. And I'm like, I won't make a video on it, but I might mention it in some videos in the future. Well, this is that video. I'm gonna link to this thing. I actually use this on all my videos. And so I'll link to it. Thanks, guys. I think it's K&F Concepts. One of the things that this bag does better than almost any other bag on the market that I've used is this kind of comfort piece. I'm getting this ergonomic vibe. I'm getting this like comfort, this fact that I have all my gear there. This is designed to schlep heavy duty photo and video gear through heavy duty terrain, right? This is doing a good job of this. Like I've got my weight down on my hips. My straps are helping load some of that weight and organize it so that I can move in the direction that I want to be moving in. Thanks, Shimoda. Okay, just a few more features I want to show you on this before I get into my final thoughts on the backpack. Then we'll get into the roller bag, okay? Now, 15-inch laptop case right back here. One of the things you're gonna notice is there's a lot of strap and dangle on this thing. I'll talk more about that in a second. You open up this guy, you've got your 15-inch laptop right here, and it's quite protected depending, all right? It's quite protected if you don't have a bunch of stuff sticking up. Right now, the way that I've got this, I actually would be I think it's kind of dubious. I wouldn't be able to, I'd have to throw this up there. I'd have to find a different place to put that. This is fine. This is I'll walk you through what I have in here when I do the duffel, because I'll pull this out to put it into not the duffel, but the roller bag. But nice padded thing here. It's padded all the way around the bag, and it's actually got a ton of like, you know, of protection on the thing because this back panel's so rigid. You've got the zipper all around and you've got padding all around. Thanks, Shimoda. We are not even done with the pockets yet, okay? Couple things that you haven't seen. I'm gonna remove this. We're gonna look at that pocket because that side pocket actually has some organization. But this front pocket, more compression straps here where you can strap on your snowboard or your skateboard, bro. Shaka! But this front pocket, YKK, zip, AquaGuard sealed, and then this goes like all the way down the front of the bag. And here's how I use it. Pouches. This is that Velomacchi pouch that I use because it's really padded and protected, but when I open it up, it's actually got a ton of space inside, right? So it's not just a bunch of padding and then like hard to use space. It's just open. I've got a couple places to put some things like my glyph for my iPhone. I've got cables and headphones and shit like that, like little headphones in here, bunch of cables, a battery, my favorite USB battery I'll link to below in the description, and then some dongles, a spare hard drive, all this kind of stuff that I need when I'm running and gunning, right? Including my Bluetooth headphones. I'll link to all that below. What I like about this Velomacchi is it's like everything in one simple case. I don't have multiple compartments on this. I just open that up and everything that I need is inside, and then I just shove it right down in there. You see how easy that is? Boom. Pouches for the win. Now inside here, you also have these zip pockets right here up at the top. Nice, you can kind of see through them. I'd throw in my little smell good stuff. I'll link to that below. I don't know why I keep mentioning that. I've never heard anybody mention it like, hey, thanks for telling me about that. But for some reason, I always bring something like this so that I don't smell quite so much like a hobo when I arrive. Just like a little bit less like a hobo. Just like I said before. A hobo with some cologne on. But those are nice, not quite large enough, I don't think, for a MacBook Pro charger, but good for smaller organization items. So I call this the kind of on-the-go pocket because it's easy to get into. And the reason why I use that pouch, one other reason, is because I can reach the top of that pouch really easily. So even when the bag's really packed out, I can loosen up this compression strap a little bit. That'll make it a little easier to get into. But I can still reach the top of this thing easily, okay? That's what's gonna make this guy really useful. Otherwise, you're gonna have stuff way down at the bottom of the bag, you know, just like chumbled around in there. You could totally have 2 of these different brown Buffalo Porter pen cases right next to each other, get 2 different colors. One of them's like bright orange, one of them's that camo, right? And then that's like how you segment your gear inside. But I love pouches for that pocket a lot. There is an elastic band undies top segmenter in there that's just you know, big enough for your papers, business papers, man. I'm gonna remove this guy, unclipping these little compression straps, which are great because they do keep my business nice and solid in there. Isn't that nice little K&F Concepts? I'll link to it below. And here's another one of these guys, which I actually put the compression strap, has a little spot that you can put that through, or just, you know, hide this sucker away. There's a little pouch inside here. Now this one opens up into the inside of itself. It's its own little compartment, right? So you can see the back of that actual flappy dappy that came out over there. And then in here is where I'm throwing some snacks. Oh, gotta shout out to Caveman paleo stuff. This is actually like the closest thing I've tasted to a Snickers bar that is made with good ingredients. That is the most soaring review I can give this. I will link to this below. And they also make some meat sticks now, which I'm stoked. Thanks, Caveman. But you can see how this thing comes through, and then there's a little flappy dappy right here, right? That's for the flappy dappy. It's a flappy dappy storage flap. Then this is, so if you don't have if you don't have something clipped to the outside of the bag over here, this becomes a really useful on-the-go pocket, right? Both of these become really good on-the-go pockets. And then this too, if up here is not a packing cube for you, if it's just in daily carry mode, on the go, on the go, on the go. That's external access. That's like quite a bit of external access. Once you memorize where your stuff is, that's easy. Now, for some of you, you might just use this because it's easy to get all your pouches and stuff in there. I've certainly done that quite a bit, but then I segment into these two. Then most of the time I've had my tripod out here. So I haven't, when you have the tripod out here and you're using these straps to compress it down and make it so it doesn't flop around, this isn't really usable because you have to unclip and almost remove the tripod to really make it usable. You can get into it, you can like just barely get in, but you don't want to be getting in very often, right? One zipper on these, and so it's like not like you can zip it from the bottom to get into that side or something, or have both zippers out here on the front and then get in and slip your hand in. So it's just one zipper. Open it up. You've got a flap with an internal organizer there. They also literally have like a helmet, a helmet thing that like clips on to some of these, and then you can have your helmet clipped onto the bed. This thing is made for so many boaties. I don't know what the female boatie is. Sarah? Okay, this stuff's all tested, designed, worked in association with all these hardcore badass filmmakers, outdoor adventure people, outdoor photographers, landscape, adventure photography, a lot of bikers, and this thing is killer. You see the dirt? I've gotten to take this out into a little bit of the elements, and so, okay. So here's my thoughts on this bag. First of all, like I mentioned, it is very comfortable, all right? The comfort and the ergonomics on the strap are a big deal. If comfort's most important for you, I would almost recommend this above a bunch of others, even travel bags, right? Obviously, if you're an adventure photographer and your name is Bodie and you need a place to put your helmet and 2 tripods and a lot of other stuff, then it's like, you should probably think about getting this bag, Bodie. But this is really fucking comfortable. Pardon my French. It's very comfortable. As far as carrying heavy things on your body can go, it's very comfortable. I like the straps for my hips. I like these things. I love that it comes with adjustability and feminine hygiene straps. It's not feminine hygiene, it's just feminine body straps. My wife has this program, I'll link to it right now, called Moon Daughters. It's helping moms have the conversation with their daughter around their feminine cycle, right? So that we can make this less of a thing that that these girls are like trying to repress about themselves, you know? Like we can have language and an actual understanding about this that is holistic, that is natural, that is good. Another thing that's crazy, women have a hormonal cycle that's like 30 days, whereas men typically, our hormonal cycle is like 24 hours. 24 hours. So there's points in a woman's cycle that are actually like tuned up for creativity. Tuned up for productivity, tuned up for rest. Like if you try to be creative or productive during the rest thing, it's like, no wonder you feel like shit. And my wife works with women around getting aligned with their cycle and stuff like that. I'll link to that below. So I'm the conversation about feminine hygiene is always ongoing in the Reeves household. Okay, so it's very comfortable. The straps, the setup, the actual carrying of the harness and the carrying of the stuff is really great. Another thing that's great about this is your stuff actually protected? Yes, it is. With the camera cube inserts, you've got all sorts of great protection for actual expensive tech gear. And then you've got all the water resistance, water repellent, dirt repellent, dust repellent, all that stuff going on here. So your gear is actually protected. Now it's actually protected in a lightweight frickin', I'll measure this I'll weigh it in a second, but it's lightweight. This isn't a Pelican. This isn't a big plastic case, which is lots of protection. But you don't want to be schlepping that through the backcountry, right? So in a lightweight, comfortable to carry package, you've got this protection. That's killer. So what about organization and access? Do we have enough organization and access for me? Absolutely. I love this segmentable top compartment. I really love this zipper that gets me into that segmentable top compartment or the main capacity if I don't have that top compartment segmented. I love this access here and this over here I ended up using just for the tripod because I had plenty with this, and then obviously the side door access to my camera gear when I'm on the go. And that's all the external access, but really the access to the bag is not that bad either. You just have to put the bag down. This is the thing a lot of photographers and videographers have learned about bags that have this access. I'm gonna show you a few. I'm gonna show you the Wandered in a little bit. But where you set your bag matters. If you're carrying with a bunch of shit and you're changing out lenses and you're doing this, that, and the other, okay, cool. We're gonna need to get into this main compartment through the back. Where we put our bag down matters, right? This is what you end up learning. It matters because it'd be great for this to be the run and grunt, you coming back, grabbing your stuff, and it's close enough because you can have everything with you. You don't want to be going back and forth and doing this, even though that's pretty quick. You can do that and then you pick it up and you move it down over here and it's like, okay, let's get that. We're gonna get the 20 millimeter. Okay, so you've got a lot of access and organization on this bag. Thanks, Shimoda. You also have quite a bit of strap and dangle. Strap and flap and dangle. Because we're going for a lightweight shell, soft shell, because you saw it in that segmentable thing in here. When you see the flap on the inside with that liner material, this is definitely more of a bag made for people who I'm calling outdoorsy people. Now, this has nothing to do with if you actually go outdoors. It's just, that's the nomenclature I'm using. It's people who are fine with having bigger pockets to throw a bunch of stuff in, and it's less, it's less Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, sort of getting very fussy about where we're putting our glasses case, man. It's more like the glasses case is thrown in with the snack bar, is thrown in with the wireless headphones, but there's not that much there. It's a pouch that carries those things. Whereas some people want a pocket for every fucking dongle. This is not that. Right? And I'm not a pocket for every dongle kind of guy. I thought I was. I tried to be. But what I found is that pocket for every dongle, if you're not really up with it all the time, it can get out of sync and you get things moved around. And I actually like having a couple simple pouches that everything's in just one of these two. Like this is all tech and this is all snacks and weed. I'll link below right now to my conscious cannabis resources, okay? If you're interested in cannabis because it's getting legalized, I think it's a very powerful tool for turning off our type A brains, helping us think a little more critically about our life, getting into deeper rest, relaxation, having maybe a bit of a vista to gaze upon the landscape of our life with can be extremely helpful for that. But there's more to it than just its helpful stuff, right? You can literally end up in, 7 months to 7 years, just like in sweatpants eating potato chips going like, I used to be fun. But you don't have to, right? Conscious cannabis use. I'll link to it below. Okay, now can you use this thing as a daily carry bag? Well, it's designed for basically everything, right? And I put my my packing cube in there, and once I pull that out, it's not actually much smaller. You notice that? It's still quite a large frame, just this stuff back here. So if you are carrying around a lot of your gear with you, right? This is the smallest it gets. This is your daily carry mode, right? Which is still a little bit too like, I'm staying in a hostel for me, right? It might be just a little too, I'm making a feature film about, slackline culture for you. But if you're like my friend Levi Allen and you are making a feature film about slackline culture and you need all your gear with you and you don't really care, like I just want to get it to where I'm going to get my gear from point A to point B safely. I want to have what I need when I get there. I want to be able to access that gear. I want to have it organized. I want to not have to think about all this crazy stuff when I'm like, okay, we're traveling. We're putting everything in one bag when we travel. And then when we get there, then we're going to change everything to a different bag. It's like, no, it's all in one thing here. This bag is a very trusty companion in that regard, right? You can absolutely sell out to this bag and go like, aesthetically, whatever, take it, right? It's not that bad. It comes in actually some interesting colors. It's just gonna look outdoorsy. It's gonna look a little shiny. It's gonna look like there might be like tents and sleeping bags inside. And it's also gonna look like there might be cameras and shit inside, right? Maybe not that much, but if you know to look for that, so, it might be something that people are, looking at to steal, right? I just made some of you so afraid. You don't need to be afraid of that. Don't be overly afraid of that. You know what? Work hard, go on adventures, work hard, don't let your bag out of your sight. Keep it on your body, keep it close to you. Don't worry too much about the pickpocketing and the this, that, and the other. Worry about pickpocketing your phone and your passport and shit. Have a little thing in your belt, like France, man. France, all over Europe, there's all sorts of action. So you just can't, you don't want to be too, don't let your stuff be dangling out of your pockets. Now, can you travel with this bag? Obviously, yes, that's my take. Yes, you can. First of all, we have all this comfort. This is killer for that. Second of all, you have this expandable capacity, right? And third of all, you have this this is not, when I travel, I like to go really low key and minimal, right? I don't mind having a big bag, but when I'm there, I want to have a minimal, chill, stylish kind of bag that feels like it's me. I love meeting people when I'm traveling and not having a bag like this, right? But I'm not an adventure filmmaker. I hate I'm trying to become a better filmmaker. I'm trying to take my camera more places, get actual B-roll of the products. It'll be interesting to see if I have actual B-roll of these products because it's apparently you're supposed to do that as a YouTuber. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna talk about this because it's me showing you marketing material. It's just marketing more. I just wanna talk to you about this thing. Right? So great as a travel bag. Honestly, I think I have to put it on my one bag travel bag page. Even though it's totally designed for photo video crap, right? It's totally designed for this techie outdoor. It's big for that. It's excellent for that. Those people look forever to they have people make them custom bags to try to get a bag that can work for them in those environments. And we could just pick one up and use it for a trip to Barcelona and just oh, this is really great. Inside is just sandals and too many t-shirts. Just an extra pair of shoes that you actually didn't use the whole time you were there. Right now, Leroy's wiping yak milk off his beard going must be nice as he grabs his huge lens to take a picture of some fucking snow leopard. Final point on this bag for me is absolutely epic if you are a sort of a YouTuber, an adventure filmmaker, someone who the storytelling in your life requires you to be in certain places with your gear, right? this thing is one of the best I've encountered for that. So great work, Shimoda. Okay, here's what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna pull out that core unit, that camera unit inside. We're gonna talk about those core units because they've been updated for Shimoda as well. Then we're gonna drop it into that roll bag and talk about that for a little bit. And then we're gonna talk about some other bags and things to look at that that are in this same category. Just so you know, when you're zipping this thing out, like this hip strap's gonna be, you know, it's right there. You've gotta use that thing. So that's why I folded it in. You could just barely get it in there a little bit, like just get it like that, where it's folded in. You can still see the flumpiness of it, but it's, you know, it's out of the way a little bit. Ultimately, this is the kind of bag that like begs you for a mission. This is the kind, I did that long ass review on these leather bags, these David leather bags. I'll link to it in the description below at this time code, just because it's an hour and 20 minute bag review. Like, what could possibly happen in an hour and 20 minutes about bags? Actually, who knows how long this one is? You're probably looking at one. But those are the kinds of bags that ask you to be a certain kind of person. This bag, literally, this gear asks you, like, hey, why don't we do something kind of gnarly today? Fucking Bodie, he's always chiming in. He's just like, hey man, what if we jumped off that roof? It'd be worth it if you filmed it. Okay, so we're gonna open this up. We're getting into it, and we're gonna pull out this camera core unit. One of the things that's great about, by the way, this bag and these camera cores is the door around the outside of this, the lip around the outside of it. This actually has a frame in it. That's part of why, I mean, I didn't even mention this, but that's part of why it's so comfortable, is that there's a metal frame that goes all the way around this bag, just very thin. Just very thin. It doesn't look, not on the top, unless I snapped that one. But the camera core unit is the thing that provides the stability in there, because these also have a metal frame that go around. Here's that door. See that door that opens up there? It has a metal frame that goes around, and I think goes down as well. That helps it be extremely rigid and protected. By the way, just for size comparison, here's PAKT Design Packing Cube, #1, okay? The thing is, I can fit likely, I would probably not want to fit a whole nother one there. I can easily fit another one on top, or I can go for a smaller, like this one from Nomatic, which has 2 compartments as well. I'll link to my favorite packing cubes below at this time code. Boom, there's that and that. Everything's there. So when you're traveling, you've just got the clothes and the shit that you don't need to get to in there. Then let's say you did have that segmentable thing up here. Now on the front side of that Nomatic, because the Nomatic isn't so tall, it's filling up the whole thing, I've still got a bunch of pocket right in here. I've still got my front pocket here. I've got my side pocket here, and I've got access to the inside of the bag here, which I probably won't be using typically because everything's just a packing cube right there. By the way, I did not show you this previously, but in that sack here, there are 2 mesh pockets, one on either side of it. So you can further segment the segmentable gear. Now that's set up for travel, and I still have an extra 7 liters on top that I can expand it out for. So if I find stuff on the go, or if on my way out, I'm like, maybe I will bring those extra shoes, I can just throw those right on top. And when it's set up like this, I can get it under the seat in front of me in the airplane if I don't pack it out too big. Right? Which this is not packed out too big. I've got a laptop, I've got lots of stuff, like, so I can fit it underneath the seat in front of me, and I've got everything that I need for my flight. Yada, 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 it's exciting. I'm going to Asia as I'm filming this in a couple days with PAKT, because we're making that PAKT travel backpack. We're going to see some of the factories. I'll link in the description below to the email thing to get on the email list to get updates about that. That's gonna be exciting. But subscribing here, you're gonna get the updates. But I gotta think about, I've got like a 15-hour flight. Oh, I hate those, man. I just hate them. But you gotta think about, what are you gonna have on the flight? Like, what do you need with you? So I'm actually going with a duffel, probably with the PAKT 1, because I loved that thing. And I'm putting that up in the overhead compartment, and then a little day bag under the seat in front of me. But if I was one bagging it, this would be an excellent way to go. I'd have a camera cube at the bottom, right? And then my packing cube on the top. I wouldn't use this full one. I'll show you the smaller ones in a second. All right, now here's everything out of the bag. Let's clip it on and see what we're looking at exactly 4 pounds, 3.96 pounds. That's really light for that many pockets, that much organization, that much protection. Obviously that's not with the so much of the protection for your camera gear is coming from this cube here, but that is lightweight for this much gear. Okay, now these camera cubes, they come in a few different shapes and sizes. Let me show you those briefly. One of them is this and one of them is that. So you see that? Their stuff is designed like to be modular, to fit in this, in that backpack, in the 50 and the 70 as well. Like all of this stuff is designed to fit that way. And they have different, like they have micro four thirds or mirrorless sizes or versions of these, and then they have DSLR versions of these things as well. I'll just quickly go through what's in here. First of all, I have my little Gorilla Pod. I'll link to all this in the description below if you're interested. I've got a little power guy. I've got my thing that powers, that charges up my batteries for my cameras. I've got this lens, which I don't even remember. It's like an 8mm 1.8 for my GH4, which is, it's a little too wide, honestly. I should sell that. Got a 20mm, another little pancake lens in there. I've got a little Shimoda case from them. Thanks, Shimoda, for all my, they make great pouches and cases and stuff like this for your SD cards and stuff. Some of them are out because I've been editing. That badass Rode mic that turns on automatically when you plug it in. Thanks, Rode. This is nice. They make these little organization pouches that are in a handful of different sizes. This is, I think, the small or medium size. And inside of this guy, I've got, you see how it's segmentable inside? I've got a bunch of cables. Why? Because my OmniCharge 20, this is sick. See that? I can just plug my laptop like straight into it, or I can just plug my laptop into the USB-C and still get like some time out of it depending on what I'm doing on my laptop. I've got 2 USBs and I can just put my phone on top and it'll charge automatically. This thing is bonkers. It's really killer for the pro video, audio people, photo people. You probably already know about it. I'll link to that below. And this little case is perfect size for that, which I like because then I have a bunch of cables in that. So whenever I need to charge phones or Bluetooth speakers or cameras or whatever, I can charge it right there. Now check this out. I just kind of put this together this way. Here's my Fuji X100T. Then you see these pouches right here? These are actually like Velcro pouches. I've got all my batteries in one of them. And then in the other one, I've got just some accessories for this little light thing, which I'll link to below. Like a little light that goes right, that connects right on the camera, but it's actually bright enough, so sick. And then you can see this. This is the DSLR size, is slightly taller, right? I think this one, what is normally, this one is the core unit mirrorless, right? So maybe it's that, maybe that's what the difference is. I don't know. I couldn't tell what the difference, they didn't send me everything. Another thing that's interesting about these core units is they have the ability, they have these little cases you can get for them, or maybe the case comes with them. So you clip this on with one of these straps that probably comes with them, I'm not sure. And now you can, you can make this your little run and gun photo setup for the day. You've got everything you need in a nice little, hey, how's it going? Yeah, no, I'll have a green smoothie. Thank you. Thanks. Hi, how are you? Well, it's my camera gear. Let me just move it behind me. Hi, how are you? Right? You can still have all your stuff in a relatively compact but very protected. And this is, this is water resistant. This is a little bit of protection, like a little bit of dirt protection, right? And you didn't have to bring a whole other bag. You pull this thing off and it takes up like no space at all. You just like crumble it up and put it in your butt so the authorities don't find it. Okay, I'm gonna move these down for a second so we can look at this bag first before we throw those in there. Look at this thing. It's just, oh, what? That visibility is just sensational. The same nylon carbonate PU coated shell out here, which is nice. I can't get enough of this soft shell, but hard shell, because these actually are super rigid here. And so you've got all of this protection, and then when you put the camera cubes inside, it gets even more protection, right? But that same water resistant, dirt resistant, dust resistant, all that stuff. Big YKK number 10 zipper right here. Look at that thing. I love that. 100mm Shock absorbing wheels, apparently. I don't know what the shock absorption must be in the way that the plastic is cut out, or the material's cut out here. So it has a subtle little, like, you know, shock absorption there. But we've got awesome ground clearance, solid ground clearance there, right? Which is nice when you're going over burly type of stuff. They even have like a little bit of tread on this, though I'm not, but it's not like you have a motor in it, so they need the traction that way. You're still gonna be pulling it. Handle and telescoping arms are actually pretty good. This is the thing I care maybe most about when I have a roller luggage, right? I haven't reviewed any roller luggage on this channel because there's just like, you know, it all seems to be the same. And when in doubt, buy Eagle Creek. I'll link to Eagle Creek below. If you need roller luggage, buy Eagle Creek. But honestly, you might want to be buying this, even if you're not a photo video person. Like, I'm stoked to be traveling with this whenever I do roller luggage stuff. You can see there's a little bit of, I'm always, what's my give? What's my wiggle? What's my jiggle here, right? So don't let that make it sound, it might sound worse than it actually is, because when you're pushing it and moving it, it's really responsive, and you've got a lot of, like, it feels like it's got the solidity to it that you're wanting, you know? That's all you can ask for with these telescoping shit, you know? 2 external pockets on this thing. One right here, one right here. They actually have this very interesting like fan opening thing, so you could fit some bigger stuff in there, and one of them has mesh on the inside, so you can, you know, throw a phone or something like that and then zip that right up like so. One of the things you do want to pay attention to is that if you have stuff in there and then this flaps out, your zipper only, like, it doesn't actually cover that front part there, right? So whatever you have in there, you want this flap pointed in, zip it, and then cinch it, okay? Same thing over here. You've got the zipper and you've got the cinch strap. And then in this one, there's no organization. But look at it, I mean, like, here's this like massive, way too big water bottle. And dude, you can just sort of plop that in there. You see that? You know how sick it is to have a little water bottle compartment for your roller bag? Okay, grab handles and zip pulls. Let's talk about those for a second. First of all, this handle on top is actually great. It's got that standard, you know, duffely clip that, or Velcro strap that gets them both together. And then when you're lifting this up off the bottom of off the ground or whatever, like this handle is just always there, right there, standing straight up, ready for you to grab it. That's sick. Then you've got a grab handle at the bottom and the top. Now notice that the doctor's handle thing, or the doctor's opening, requires this ear to come down. You're gonna put that underneath and behind the strap when you're, or the handle, when you're in travel mode maybe, if you wanna really be able to grip it and rip it. But for the most part, on the bottom, I don't. Now, zipper pulls on this guy are great, big leather straps. I don't know if they'll have a vegan option, you know, for people. But you'll want the zippers to be at the top of the bag. Otherwise, when they're down here, you could get some dragging going on the ground, right? That's one reason why you might want to do this awkward little move of taking that little, like that little pig ear there and putting it underneath that handle, which has a nice little bit of leather. Thanks, Shimoda. Now, when we're opening it, chances are you're gonna be able to kind of open it and it's gonna pull itself out of that handle and then you're in. I mean, isn't that just sick? Some of you are just like, do it again. Do it again. It's so good. I love this doctor's bag opening. Then inside, on both sides, you have a small and a large zippered mesh pocket. See it over here, maybe a little bit better. A small and then a large zippered mesh pocket for a little bit of organization on the sides of the bag so it's not jumbled in the middle. But then you take your cubes and they just fit perfectly right inside. There you go, man. Look at that. This is such a sick way to get all of your photo gear to where you need it to go. If you don't need it on your backpack, if you don't need to be running and gunning, if you're gonna go do studio stuff or just a handful of shots, carrying this around town, you know, just like wheeled luggage around town's not that bad compared to having to have like some big ass backpack potentially. So you've got all your stuff in a very protected thing. You're taking it around, you're going from place to place, you're getting, okay, you open it up, you get to where you're going, you open it up, where's my zippers? And you have literally all of your gear. everything you could need, right? This is a big deal. One of the things that's awesome about this too, depending on the cases that you get, like the DSLR are a little bit taller than the mirrorless ones. If you had just mirrorless, this is something I learned from Levi Allen. He was working with the previous version of this bag. You can actually put your laptop right on top here. If you don't need that in your daily carry, if you don't, you can just like put that right there, and it's with all your heavy techie stuff, and it's totally protected because you can see this piece of metal. Can you see this right here? This piece of metal runs and it curves around the whole outside of the bag right there. So you're getting this really hard piece right here, this really hard piece right here, and then that metal is down on top of that. So it creates this nice, stiff sort of top to the thing, as well as this really stiff back and all this protection. So sick. The one place is that, like, if you threw this and it landed bam, like on its side right there, you'd be just hitting the cube strength on the inside, right? So that's your only little, and you know, I'm not gonna worry too much about that. Okay, a couple simple thoughts on this roller. Just, you've heard me say it before. I love the soft-sided but still very rigid protection. This is interesting to me. It just looks good. It performs really good. I love this kind of visibility. Popping in and just getting that and then closing it and everything's locked up and ready to go. Oh, that's so sick. And then the fact that my gear I can take it between the backpack and this roller bag, right? And now I could take both of these as carry-ons, right? I've got this and then my backpack personal item if I don't have it super overpacked. This is like a lot of potential gear I can get to where I'm going without doing a check-in. Though, arguably, I wouldn't want to check this in. I'd rather have a big Pelican case if I needed to check something in. Big old Pelican and pay the extra fees for all the weight and all that shit. And then it's safe and sound, right? So, your mileage may vary on that. But look how much stuff I've got with both of these. Thanks, Shimoda. All right, that's all my points. That's all my thinking through. From testing these things out and playing around with them for a while, I'm stoked that these bags exist. These are going to absolutely equip a handful of you inspired motherfuckers who are out there doing crazy shit. That's awesome. And they're also gonna be a great piece of gear for some of you who are like vibing with this, like you like the vibe of this product, but you're not like super serious photo video person. You're still gonna like be able to do some killer travel with this. But I really think it's excellent for like photo video professionals. Stellar for that, especially adventure-y folks. I've been very clear about that. Besides that, for urban people, urban photographer type folks, right? This Wandered is one of those most popular for side access. The Boundary Supply Prima. Boundary Supply is makes some of my favorite stuff. The Errant is another one. The Errant has their camera sort of set up on the top. I'll link to the Wandered Provoke, the Boundary Supply Prima, the Boundary Supply Errant, which is a little smaller techie. That one's my favorite of those three. Then the PAKT Designs Everyday Backpack, which so many people love for the daily run and gun because it has the two side access. You can totally configure that thing. It looks like a rocket pack. Those are the ones that I'm used to talking about with photography because I'm talking to so many people who are doing just like urban, smaller, mirrorless, or just like around town stuff. But when you're getting into that mode where you need a lot of gear, as I'm trying to do, I want to take the YouTube channel seriously enough. I'm looking at, what Casey Neistat's doing and like trying to get shots and images that look that good. But at the same time, it's like, man, dude, I just want to get in front of the top. I just want to talk to people. I don't want to set up some fucking shot at the beach where I have to fall into the water just so that like people are like, oh my God, he fell in the water. But it does create a little bit of visual interest and shit like that. But what have you been watching this whole time? It hasn't been visually interesting. The products are visually interesting. The idea of how I'm gonna use that product in my life is interesting. That's why you're still here if you still are, right? Is because you think techie, you think organize-y about your life. Because the thing is, if we can organize our lives, the idea is we might be able to be more obviously efficient, but maybe also effective. When I've done a lot of business consulting, which I do, you can go to workwithchase.com, and honestly, what that's made for right now is just, honestly, fans of the channel who want to talk. There's other stuff where brands and people who want some business consulting or like more professional coaching sort of stuff. I've done all of that, and I like just making videos right now. But I also really like talking to fans of the channel. Might sound weird to book time with someone just to chat, but you should try that out. But this question about efficiency and effectiveness runs through the heart of every corporate entity, every indie business project, every creative process, every artist and creative as a person. We all want to be efficient, but if we optimize for efficiency, we may not necessarily be optimizing for effectiveness. Do you know what I mean by that? When I make an effective video here, it's one that actually reaches out to more people than are those who are currently watching. Let me try to like connect this to your life. Like, what are you trying to do? Pause, scan, nod. What are you trying to do? Like, what are you trying to do in your life? What right now are you trying to do in your life? Do you have a vision? Do you have a goal? Do you have something? And it could be like, I want to be with an attractive person. I would like to have sex once before I die. It might be like, I need to make more money. I want to feel more successful. Like, I want to feel more like vital in my life. It might be like, I want to get my shit with my family, like on lockdown. I want to feel good about that. I want to feel not like, torn between family and professional life as much as I do. So these are visions, these are desires, these are goals, depending on how you think about things. I like to think about it in terms of a direction. That's a direction that I'm heading in. Vision to me feels like a direction because I'm not committing to that specific outcome. I'm committing to walking in that direction, and I might change my goal over time. I reserve the right to change my goal. I can refuse service to myself if I so choose to. No shirt, no shoes, no fucking problem, man. So if you're heading in that direction, if you've got that goal and if you got that vision, if you optimize for efficiency towards that, you might be making decisions that are around, if you're wanting to find the balance in the family and the work life, right? The work, family, the career, professional, exciting, like I can develop things over here, but they take me away from my family. And if I pour into my family, I feel like I'm losing my edge over here in work. If you're focused on efficiency here, you might be thinking specifically about like just getting the work done as quickly as possible, getting the family stuff done as quickly as possible so you have as much time for both, or for coming back into that third state, which is where, your consciousness kind of has to come sometime to kind of like, how are we doing on this stuff? And efficiency doesn't necessarily mean effectiveness, right? So it's that third place that I like to get us to. That's why I'm so passionate about the cannabis and creativity and conscious cannabis use, which I'll link to again right now. But really, I use cannabis because you know what? Cannabis is a shortcut to meditation, like proficiency. It is. I've been like a meditator for a long time, and it's a cheat code. It's a cheat code, and you should not. If you don't know how to meditate, cannabis isn't going to be very useful for you beyond like feel good in your body, chill out. And if you're using it like socially, it's not going to be very useful for you for personal development, self-discovery, and stuff like that. There's just some ways you have to learn how to use. It's absolutely like a tool that you can use, but you can also use it and not use it as a tool, right? It's just interesting to me that this third place where we can sit back and observe our life and look at the things that we're wanting and evaluate how are we doing in this. What's essential to this is non-judgment. Non-judgment. It's the ability to notice something without it triggering you, or it triggers you and your response to the trigger is different than you have space inside you for your nervous system to go like, holy fucking shit, man, it's not gonna work. There's another part of you going like, hold on, man, ride this out. Wait, really? You don't think it's gonna work? Tell me more. Tell me why. Because it's gonna go nuts. It's like all this crazy shit, right? That triggered response, that third place, growing your capacity for being able to look at not only how efficient, but how effective we're being in our goals, in our balancing our work and our family, or in our, becoming more successful and hitting those but don't forget what Prince said. You should never forget what Prince said. Prince said a lot of shit. But one of his buddies, after he did Purple Rain, like this fucking How do you top Purple Rain, right? He does a movie where he's like the main character. He rides a motorcycle. There's an album that comes out with it. There's some great songs. His buddy's like, what are you going to do next? Are you going to do another Purple Rain? And Prince is like, I've been to the mountaintop. There's nothing there. And it's this idea that like you can make these goals. You can have as many visions as you want. You can be as effective and as efficient as you want to get to these things. But if you're not coming back to that third place where you're evaluating, how are you doing? Is this the direction we want to be going, right? Then you're gonna get to the top and you're gonna see another peak and another peak and another peak, and you're gonna keep doing that. Now that's a great way to live a very fun, action-filled life, which is what these fucking Shimoda bags are great for. Right? You can get out there and do a bunch of crazy shit, and you can actually set goals and try to be, you can make something of yourself. And isn't that just the project, making something of ourselves? But the question that's built into that, or the assumption that's built into that, is that you're not already something. This third place, and for me, meditation and cannabis use, like mixed with meditation, once you get good at it, I guess, is about, and all spiritual work itself is about realizing the work you already are. Realizing the made thing you already are and you always were. Make something of yourself, make something new of yourself, but you already have a self that's been made. And all of my, one of the things, I used to be a hardcore evangelical, you guys. I wasn't raised in the church or anything like that, but I was like a fucking Jesus is my boyfriend. Now Jesus and I have an open relationship. We're sort of seeing other people, but we occasionally do the booty call. And man, I gotta tell you, good Christian technology that still exists. It still exists. I know some of you don't believe that at all. But good Christian thought technology still exists out there. There's some basic shit that was like coded really well in some contemplative Christian mysticism and ancient, like older type stuff. And what the big thing is grace, right? Now, grace is a word that a lot of us like it just sounds so churchy, right? Grace sounds really churchy, but it's this idea that like, holy fuck, man, it's a gift. It's a gift. It's a gift. So much of the church stuff gets wrapped up in this like now be good, like go and sin no more, and forget all about this whole thing where it's like, listen, man, nobody ever asked Jesus to come down here. The gospel message is at its best. It's like, oh, I'm for you. I'm for you. Like, I'm the thing that created the whole thing. You call me God because you don't know what the fuck to call me because you can't even fucking conceive of me. In the Old Testament, they're like, what's your name? God's like, I am. I am, meaning like I am-ing. I'm amming. I'm being. I am being. I'm beingness. I'm the beer. In the way that you have amness and beingness, in the way that you are alive and engaged, I am being. I am the beingness that undergirds all of your beingness. Does that make sense? In Hebrew, it's just I am. It's like literally old Hebrew text, like they didn't even put vowels in there. They were just saving so much space because I think paper was so expensive and like so hard to get and so hard to make all this. So it's like there's no vowels. Half the time interpreting like old Hebrew stuff is as much art as it is science. And this is the truth whenever we're encasing language to communicate something that's real. This is what Alan Watts has so much great shit on, right? Where it's like, listen, anytime we're trying to say something, anytime we're trying to have a goal, we're trying to say, here's what I'm trying to do or where I'm trying to go, right? Which is important to focus us towards a thing. It gets concrete. It gets almost material, right? It can get focused. You can manifest things if you really focused on them. Attention, right? What you're paying attention to is what will be going on. I just exploded that whole thing out. There's way too many concepts in play right now, right? We've got the grace, we've got the cannabis, effectiveness, efficiency. We've got vision and goal and all of that stuff. We've got Prince saying like, there's nothing there. But all of this is related to the fact that with a bag like this Shimoda bag, and like my friend Levi Allen, who I only met once at a conference, but I've been watching his YouTube channel. I'll link to it below just a little bit because he's just constantly grinning ear to ear, and he's just one of these great outdoorsy people who seems to be committed to giving people like the good vibes. And what I want to be true about Levi and a lot of my friends that are like him is that he's kind of reconciled himself to the mystery of life. and that we're just gonna do with our time what we get to do with our time. It's a gift. All of it's a gift. It's a grace. And it reminds me of Alan Watts is like that, right? A lot of Alan Watts feels like that, like, oh, yes. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to worry about things? It doesn't seem to be, Jesus himself said, look at the flowers of the field. They haven't added a single day to their life by worry, which I think Jesus was actually talking about the sparrows or something like that. But the point is, we don't add to our life by the worry, right? We could worry about what we're making of ourselves, or if we're not making enough of ourselves, or if there's all this potential being lost. And I like the idea that there's these people out there that exist who have just reconciled themselves to the fact that it's a mystery, and we're gonna get to go and experience this and to look for the things that matter to you in it. I'm on the side of like, if you have kids, that's my kids basically are where all the meaning in my life, or all the responsibility in my life is generated. I have a lot of responsibility here with the channel. I feel this connection to my audience, and I want to do right by this. And with my wife, I feel that connection, and I know I can see that it gets better when I pour into it, right? Are you seeing this in your relationship as well? If we pour into our relationships, if we keep them verdant, if we keep them fecund, right? They will grow, and it will be a boon for us. It will be something that we're glad to have. Or we just kind of go through life going like, I wish it was more like this, or I wish she looked more like that, or I wish I was more like this, or, it's like, and not by any of this worry have we ever added anything to our life, any more minutes to our life, right? But I also think of Alan Watts, who died of consumption, effectively. He for a while, people thought he committed suicide or something, because he died. He wasn't supposed to die. He had like a conference that he was going to. He just drank a lot. He loved being drunk. He liked not being drunk. He just liked drinking. He liked being in the party vibe, and he learned how to hang up the phone with LSD. It's a meme joke. And I think one of the things that I would have liked to hear more of from Alan Watts is how he dealt with his own depression, how he felt about depression, and how he felt. He talks quite a bit about this kind of stuff, but there's something that my friend Jay is always talking to me about, like, don't bring just your positive stuff, because then you're going to be trapped in that positive only mode, which I see my friend Levi sometimes, I hope he can bring his sad stuff too, because we're both, dude, we are darkness and we are light. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. But also, there's no light without dark. We only know that it's light because there is dark. So don't be trying. This is what the Christian world can it's not good. The origin story it includes this, but I find that a lot of how we work it into regular everyday life, practical theology is like, dude, darkness and light, shadow work, Jungian shadow type stuff. Getting used to the beast in you, getting used to the darkness in you. I'll go find some video right now that I think is good at explaining some of this shadowy stuff, and I'll link to it in the description below, because I love cannabis just for party and fun, hang out with friends. I like talking deep with my friends. I also like it for personal exploration, though I find that meditation is more effective, or, some sort of group meditation even more so. Yoga is excellent. But there's definitely some value in some of these plant medicines. Like ayahuasca was a really, if you want to just take it in the gut, go to ayahuasca. But there's other things like Combo, which is a 45-minute plant medicine thing. It's focused entirely on the shadow, on going into uncomfortable feelings and relating differently to your own discomfort. Because why else do we create these visions? But because we're uncomfortable, or we have discomfort about where we currently are. The third space is when we pull back and go, hold on, I accept fully everything here. Take inventory. Take it in, accept it, be with what is. And then fold in, knead in some desire, right? It's like yeast with a sourdough. Bring in some desire to help leaven this thing. Go what's the direction I want to be heading in? Can I be okay already? Because cosmically, it's a mystery that any of us exist, and it's fucking wonderful to just think well, first of all, it's wonderful to have orgasms. You're welcome. You can just have that anytime you want, and when you can get alone. Get alone, you can have that anytime you want. Even better with people. Even better. Get off the pornography if you can. Get off and try to find this engagement, because there's no place in the world where you're gonna be met in as special of a way, potentially, as in sexual encounters, right? Consensual, there's intimacy, there's connection, there's curiosity, there's potentially infatuation, but there's this infatuation with self. It's like, oh, I hope she touches it. Does that sound like too profane for the kind of conversation we're having? It's not. It's not at all. Like, that is so much of life. When you are that vulnerable, hungry in your biology, embodied, and you find something in the universe meets you there, some person who also has a body and who also has dreams and a fucking dad, you know what I mean? And experience in life and desires, hopes, visions. This is a meeting that is sacred as far as I'm concerned. And it's a powerful thing to work with your spouse or your partner or loved one, or just like somebody. I can't imagine. I never was very sexually promiscuous. I was always scared, and I have a lot of regret about that in a lot of ways. But at the same time, like, I also can't imagine doing that too flippantly. That being in lovemaking sort of too flippantly. It's so good when it's rich and it's deep, and it's a great metaphor. This is why one of the deepest philosophies on the fucking planet is Tantra, right? Tantric Buddhism, Hinduism stuff, it really conflates both of those. And it talks about the experience of polarity. And you live in the distance between, the attraction that's shared between two different poles. So have I really lost you now? Let me try to land this train. The reason why we live in the distance between in the Tantra philosophy is that thing that you're visioning towards, that goal, and the fact that you do not have it yet are actually one and the same. The light and the darkness, they're actually one organism. Alan Watts puts it this way: the flower and the bee are really one organism. You'll never find one without the other. These flowers that require pollinators and these pollinators actually coexist as an entity of their own, like, accord, right? They are one organism, but we segregate, we segment, we do what we do in our bags, and we organize for cleanliness. That's what science is. It's the cleanliness, it's the logic of the world around us. And what we've realized over the last fucking half a century is, like, we've gotten too clean in our logic, and we can lose the plot. So that's why there's these impulses towards these naturalistic, primalistic, indigenous cultures, learning this stuff. And that's why I like cannabis so much, because it is a plant fucking medicine, and one that's very accessible for a lot of us. And if you can go with the idea that maybe this plant is actually communicating with you just a little bit, like it's like its thoughts are mixed with yours, and that's what we call when we're getting high or stoned, which are two kind of different experiences. Anyways, that's a bunch of little ramble for you at the end of this video that was already too long, because I care about your time enough to take it. Fucking take it. I want you here. I like this. I like talking with you. I like talking about this stuff because I want people to take their lives. I want you to take it's yours. It is yours. Yours. Okay? And that's not a call to go be like a fucking, superhero turned into, that doesn't realize yet that most superheroes turn into a Hitler in some ways, right? The power has this responsibility built in. That responsibility is this back door. It's called wisdom. It's wisdom that we're looking for. Wisdom can grow power as well, right? And we live in a world where it's like, dude, it's just fascinating, interesting, cool, all this stuff and all the things that we're watching on YouTube and in the world that can be like opulent and rich and like, I feel like I need to have that, right? You're looking at a YouTube channel that's talking about all these different bags, but hopefully in the context of these conversations, you're getting the fact that, like, there's no perfect bag that's actually gonna exist. The people who are gonna want that Shimoda backpack and they're hungry and they want it to be perfect, like, you will get that bag and you will find eventually the thing you wish it was more this or less that, or if there was a thing here, right? That's always the case. That's why I love bags so much, because it is a lesson in the imperfection of life, and that imperfection makes it no less A, usable and functional, and B, no less fucking awesome that it exists. Like, we're lucky to have it. All right, I gotta go. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. I'll put links to everything below, including my links to the daily carry bags, the photo and camera bags that I'm currently are my favorites. These Shimodas are going right on those bags pages. My travel bags and everything else. And while you're on those pages, get on the email list at the bottom of it, because we're about to do a huge giveaway. Thousands of dollars worth of gear. I'm getting all my favorite brands involved, okay? And then each of them is gonna give away a bag. And if you're on the email list, then you will be entered to win. I might do some of the giveaways on Instagram too. So I'll link to my Instagram account and you can subscribe there and follow along, because I don't post that often. And most of it's Instagram stories of my fucking favorite songs on Spotify. Spotify playlists, I'll link to those. I've got some Spotify playlists that are like great for like contemplation and thinking about your life. The half moon one, it's good. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.